Good evening. This is 4046. I was supposed to do a video this morning, however that did not turn out to be the case. Today is, as well as yesterday, well, this week has been very busy due to childcare issues and actually having a week off from work, which I sorely needed. I did make another video outside. Unfortunately, due to the public being, as I suppose, oblivious as they can be, unfortunately I've decided not to release that video. I was going to be showing the woods where I live near, and I may do so tomorrow anyway. The problem was I kept having dog walkers and stuff lurking around, and dogs randomly coming up to me, and also people asking, "Oh, have you seen this dog?" as this person said they'd lost their dog. And so 2 recordings and nothing that I could really use. Anyway, today, as I said, I was going to talk about birds, but I think that, I suppose, birds, we've got a lot to, I suppose, well, think about birds, as birds have been around longer than we have. I mean, a lot of birds were originally dinosaurs, and 65 million years ago, when they had the Cretaceous extinction event, many of these dinosaurs, even during this time, were beginning to show signs of turning into the avian variety, leading to some monsters that came later on. However, things like it's now come to light that a lot of dinosaurs actually had feathers. The smaller, more carnivorous ones certainly had feathers, it would seem. It's come to light over the last 20 years that this was such a case. I think the thing that sparked this all off was the Archaeopteryx, which at the time they were saying, "Oh, this is amazing, this has got well preserved feathers," because I don't think feathers preserve that well. Anyhow, it was then said that the Archaeopteryx was fake and it wasn't real, and in essence debunked. However, I think that was just a smokescreen, because now it seems that many dinosaurs had feathers or fur, and not quite what we thought they were. The science has come a long way, even going as far now to have found perfectly preserved T-Rex blood, which in its own right is something incredible. How it got preserved so well is something in its own right. The fossils are mostly created by how they died and then covered by material, and a bit like plaster of Paris, over millennia the layers build up, and then when archaeologists come along, at first they were discovering such things as ammonites, which are a bit like the horseshoe crab. Very strange creature, about so big, with a shell and many legs, and that's a little bit like what trilobites and many of their subspecies had. There was a lot of them around at one point. These are one of the more common fossils to find. However, in the 18 to 1900s there was a boom where they kept finding all these bones, and these were creatures that were no longer alive. It's probably started off with mammoths, I suspect, which were still around about 10,000 years ago. Unfortunately, due to hunting and climate change, I suspect the mammoths died off for a variety of reasons, and possibly hunting may have been something to do with it, but mammoths are a lot more recent extinction, shall we say. However, they are still finding mammoth skeletons today, and some of them are very well preserved. Anyway, I digress. They found these bones. They started trying to put them together to see how complete skeletons they could get to guesstimate what these things were. I mean, now in the 21st century we have many examples. There's even creatures that they first thought were assembled in such a way, but more recently it's come to light that that was completely wrong way round, and then they actually constructed them and it's like, one such creature is the and forgive me if I get this wrong, but it was like a giant shrimp which was about 6 feet long, which was the apex predator of the time. I believe this was during the Precambrian period. At some point I will do a video probably giving a rundown of the many aeons and ages we've had. For example, the main dinosaur ages which are known about is the Triassic, Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, and these are the periods that we've got a lot of skeletons from. It is quite an interesting field because unfortunately, as always with these things, there is value attached to these fossils, so there will be some in private collections which may never ever see the light of day. Some dinosaur skeletons are highly prized. They're also making dinosaurs which were the biggest creatures on Earth. They still say the blue whale is still the biggest creature on Earth, but I think these dinosaurs would have given a good run for its money, at least, to be fair. I mean, to have such massive land-dwelling animals anyway is unthinkable today, considering how things are. But, I mean, as a kid, I was obsessed with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs monetarily, the whole subject, hence films and movies being made about such of them, some more fantastical than others, are one that draws the crowds. If dinosaurs were still alive today, something like Jurassic Park may exist, but it wouldn't be as poorly run as the one in the 1992, or should I say 1993 movie, which was very poorly run considering. But again, it's just one of those things. So, yes, anyway, getting back to the subject, dinosaurs gave rise to the Avian Kingdom. Sometime during the great nuclear winter and into the spring, millions of years ago still, you started to get some of the first mammals that were actually finally starting to carve out their own kingdoms and starting to evolve to the new conditions. Such things as the birds, some of the dinosaurs which were on their way to becoming birds evolved somewhat more. You got these terrible, massive monster birds. There was a couple of islands which had these terrible, basically like an emu or something, but huge compared to an emu, absolutely ferocious and carnivorous. And for many years, those were terrorising things. I think that the climate changed again, and these all died off. And what we see today is just bare remnants of these things. I mean, your flightless birds like your ostriches, emus, and cassowaries are possibly offshoots of these huge birds that used to exist, and absolutely huge still. I mean, cassowaries look prehistoric. If you've ever seen a cassowary, I think these live for sort of Australia, New Zealand region. They're sort of mostly a big black flightless bird with this blue horn type structure on their head, which I believe vents heat or something. But the their business end of their weapon system is their legs. Absolutely awful. You wouldn't want to make one very angry, because they're designed to disembowel people, it seems. And then we get the more mundane birds, things like blackbirds, magpies. In this country, we're quite fortunate because we have robins, thrushes, blue tits, a whole aviary of different bird types. Unfortunately, we have pest ones as well, like seagulls and pigeons, unfortunately, who proliferate extremely well. We also have other birds such as swans. We have migrating mallard ducks, which I believe come from Canada. We have geese. We have all sorts of birds. When I get a little bit more editing, I will probably do some reduxes of some of these videos. But just to give you an overview, if it wasn't for birds, a lot of plants use birds as a delivery system for their delivery of seeds. So, for the more wilder birds that aren't acclimatised to us, they use in their droppings, they have the seeds so they can grow, the plant can spread around as successfully as it can. You have things like woodpeckers, you can hear them in the woods, and cuckoos and all sorts. It really makes you think, really, that something that by today's standards is mostly small. I mean, we even have some of the birds of prey in this country. Unfortunately, you don't see them so much due to the cities and things, but they have adapted to become apex predators in their own rights, to hunt things like rabbits and small deer and all that, because some of these birds of prey are enormous. I mean, that probably wants a video in its own right. Please like and subscribe. I intend to try to make my videos more commonplace, because it's just adapting to working a lot more now than I did after the period of time I was off. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. This is 4046.